Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be building a crossbuck fence around this miniature train track here that kids can ride on. We need a barrier here to keep them off of the tracks, and so I'm going to be building one along this area. I'll start out by painting on the ground where I need to dig the post holes, and I'm spreading these posts apart 3 inches less than 8 feet. So that's 93 inches apart. This way the 8-foot boards that I have to go across will reach, and I'll have a little bit extra that I could just trim off. That way I don't end up having any boards that are too short. At our location, we don't have an issue with frost lines, so we're not going to have to dig very deep for these. We're just going 2 feet down, and it's really easy to measure because my post hole digger handles have the measurements already on it, so I can make sure I dig the holes at the same depth all the way around. Now I'll take my 6-foot posts here and I'll put those down into the holes. That will leave me 4 feet above ground if 2 feet is buried below the surface. I'll fill those in, and what I'm going to do is pack this really tight with the digging bar and make sure that that ground around the post is solid. This isn't going to get a ton of use of people climbing on it or much pressure put on this, so we're just going to pour the dirt right back in the hole, pack it in tight. If you want to make sure that this is even more stable, you can pour concrete around it or foam that you can get for setting posts. Either one of those will work. And then the other thing you want to make sure is you'll need to check your frost line where you're located and make sure you dig down past that frost line, or else every year when it freezes, it's going to continue to push that post up out of the ground and it'll end up messing up your whole fence. So here we don't have a frost line. 2 feet is plenty, and so we're going to bury that and then move on to setting up the fence. I'll start with the top rail, and I'm going to base everything off of the measurements that I have here for the top rail, so I needed to make sure that this was right. So I put a string out around the post and held it up to the height that I want it to go. I didn't want to measure from the ground at each post to get the measurement, or else it's going to follow the ground very closely, and it's a bit uneven here, so I wanted to make sure I sort of cover that up, and the fence looks really nice and slowly gradually goes around the corner instead of up and down over this area. So what I did with the string was measure on each end of the fence, or where it dips in particular, and make sure that I'm having the string at the right height, and then let the string guide those posts that are dropping down a bit further. That way I can get the correct measurement and it looks like it's following the same line as the rest of them. I'll take each 8-foot board and place it up against the 4x4 posts, nail it in place, and then all I need to do is trim off the 2 to 3 inches that are extra, because again those posts were 2 to 3 inches closer together than 8 feet, so about 93 inches apart, so I'll have a little bit extra on each one. Now I'll go back through and install the bottom rail, and I'm doing this all measured off of the top one, so this one's a little bit easier. I'm just having the same measurement all the way across, measuring from that top rail down to the bottom one. And I believe I put this about 3 feet apart. The fence is 4 feet high, but the distance in between the top rail and the bottom rail can be adjusted if you wanted a shorter fence or a taller fence. You'll just have to adjust the angle of the crisscross boards going across this, but the measurement can be different. I went with 3 feet from the top of the top rail to the bottom of the bottom rail. To speed things up a little bit, I'm using a nail gun with my compressor here, and it goes really quick fastening those boards. But if you don't have a nail gun, deck screws and a drill will work perfectly fine and will hold really well anyways. This just goes a little bit faster than the drill and screws. Now I'm cutting the crossboards to go in between the top and bottom rail, and you do need to cut the angle on this before fastening it to the post. So I'm just holding it up in place and sort of eyeballing the angle. The angle will change slightly depending on the incline or decline of the fence with the post, so you're really going to have to do it for each one. So it's pretty easy to just eyeball it, mark a line, cut it off real quick, and nail it in place. And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect because we're going to come back through with boards to cover up those seams and make it look a lot nicer. This also helps fasten those boards. Again, I'm nailing through that cover board into the rail on the top and bottom and the crossboards. One thing you want to keep an eye on while you're doing these crossboards is that you're keeping the same pattern. You don't want to mismatch, so the inside board is either all facing the same direction, going from left to right, pointing up, or you can do a pattern where that inside board is going left to right, up, then down, and it sort of creates a cool pattern. You wouldn't want to mess this up and do it the other way on one of these, or else it'll be very noticeable. Alright, so this is what the fence is looking like so far. We got a whole bunch of mulch here that we need to spread around and level this out. But you can see here, I've got 8-foot rails on top and bottom. Those crisscross boards are over 8 foot. They're closer to like 8.5, 9 feet. So I use 10 footers for those. And then I use 3-foot sections as the vertical covers over those 4x4 posts. Alright, so that just about wraps up the video for today. Here's a quick after shot of that mulch spread out. The fence is finished. I put in some stairs here out of these large rocks, so there's a nice safe area to go down this bank. You can enter the area where the kids can ride on the train, and it's looking a whole lot better now and a bit safer instead of people tumbling down the hills or walking out in front of the train as it's going around the track. If you guys found this video helpful or you liked it, please hit that like button down below and let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.